Good afternoon. Welcome to the Tuned and Strong podcast. I am Angela McCuiston of Music Strong, joined by my co-host,
Dr. Jen Kavis of Tuned and Tone Performance. And today we're going to go on a little bit of a rabbit hole that we referenced in our last episode, and it's how fitness is portrayed in the media. Now, we've done an episode that was about how social media affects our sense of self. But I think that talking about media in the grander sense and specifically about what is being sold by the fitness industry or by various people as fitness ties into everything we had just talked about in our, we called it the self-care
Yes.
series? Yeah.
Healthy Habit series.
Healthy Habit. Thank you. I was like, I know that's not what it's called.
It's okay. Self-care was what we mostly talked about in our last episode.
Yes. So that's going to tie in. That's probably a really good segue. When we're talking about media, we're talking about TV, we're talking about print advertisements, stuff that you'll see in social media too as advertisements, but the stuff that is being sold in your day-to-day life to you. And I think for me, one of the biggest things I see being preyed upon is the sense of should that we talked about in our last episode. I should work out because I need to, or because it's healthy, or because I don't look a certain way. I should do this because it's expected. And they also prey on your sense of, I don't have enough time, right? I'm busy because everybody's busy. I'm busy. I don't have enough time. So the problem is that I should do this thing. And what they're doing in a lot of these advertisements is you don't feel like you have time, but you feel like you should. So we're going to try to sell you something very expensive that is non-sustainable or not healthy. Because when it fails, then we can sell you something else.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm specifically referencing here are these kind of either fad workout videos or instruction sets or whatever it is. And don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with group classes, cardio classes, anything like that. But there's a difference between a group or cardio or video, that kind of class that you can sustain, and something that is clearly not meant to sustain you. So we've got that on the one end, I think is one of the most common. And the other most common thing I see are machines for at-home workouts that are expensive and that are kind of, in my opinion, designed to make you fail. It's that, like, we're going to give you a basic set of instructions in this really expensive machine, and you're just going to go through these movements, not understanding what the purpose is.
That reminds me of Planet Fitness, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, did I drop a name? Oops.
You did.
Not to knock on Planet Fitness. I know a lot of people get quality workouts.
Yes.
But that's not what Planet Fitness is catering towards. They honestly, as a company, only want your money, and they don't care if you succeed. They just want you coming in and giving them money. Hence why, what is it, Pizza Tuesdays and Bagel Mondays, and I don't know.
Yeah, anyway. and that's a lot of the Globo gyms too. A lot of the ones that have the really cheap come in and work out, and here's a circuit, and here's all these machines, and this is how it... Not that they don't have their place. Not that they don't have their place.
Yeah.
And certainly if you have some knowledge, you can use that to your advantage. Like, great. But if you're just starting out, you don't know anything, that is a recipe for disaster. And you're going to feel so guilty that you're going to spend your money on it, and you're going to keep spending your money on it. Mm-hmm. Because when you fail, then you feel like it's your fault and not theirs. Yep. So, the kind of things that I'm talking about, you'll see this in a lot of Globo gyms too with their machines. There were a couple places that I went into, and we were traveling, just kind of drop in because we had to for whatever reason, or when we were scoping things out, that I had to change my workout day of. I needed to do some light cardio or something. I had to change my workout day of because of the same thing that I'm going to complain about in a second here with some of the machines that they're trying to sell you for your home. Well, you should work out, but you don't want to, and you don't feel like you have time. So we're going to placate you by putting a video screen in front of you. There's something to be said for cardio machines. There's something to be said for having the option of something positive, like I want to watch this one like really inspirational video while I'm on the bike today because I just don't have it in me to sit in a dark room or in just an empty room with nothing going on, you know.
Mm-hmm.
There's something to be said for that. But if you can't spend enough time alone with yourself to ever do the thing.
This ties in really well with our next episode, where we are interviewing our first person who's going to talk about doing hard stuff.
Yes, and
doing hard
I think
stuff.
That's the mindset difference too. Is like when I get on my stationary bike, I have one. I got one off Craigslist. It was super cheap. It's awesome. It's totally analog, which is right up my alley. But I'm weird. I know this.
It's okay.
You know.
I don't think less of you.
Thank you. But when I get on that thing, it's because I want to feel better. You know? And so I'm actively taking the time to get on this thing that I know is difficult for me in some ways. Mm-hmm. So I can feel how my body actually feels that day. You know? Mm-hmm. I can feel things release. I can feel like, okay, well, my knee's been kind of hurting all day on my right leg, and am I doing something weird with my foot that's causing this? And if stuff doesn't start loosening up, you know, when I'm on the bike after a little bit, that means I'm gripping, you know?
Yeah.
And the last thing I would want in that situation is to have something distracting me.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come at that from a different angle. Mm-hmm. So I have a road bike. Mm-hmm. I detest riding inside. There's no breeze. There's no change of scenery.
Yep.
I struggle to stay on for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Do I like how, and then the setup is always something's wrong. I can't get something like a sensor won't connect, or the timing of the tension is all wrong, or something doesn't work, or I feel like it's wobbly, or it's always something wrong. Always, every single time. I've never just put it on and gone and been fine. And it's just a massive pain and struggle. I would much rather just ride outside. I struggle to stay on for 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. 2 minutes is a struggle. I look down, it's been 3 minutes. On my bike, I'll look down, it's been 25 minutes. I even know, I'm outside. Yeah. But there are times where I'm like, you know what? I miss riding, and I can't just, like, sometimes you just got to suck it up. And the only way I've been able to do that is to put on something on TV. Yeah. Because it's like, I'm going to lose all the gains I've made in getting this fitness level to stay where it is. And I don't want to catch up. Mm-hmm. So that is a should, but it's also like, I've got this higher end and, this higher goal in front of me. And it's something I like doing.
You're still doing it for yourself.
Yes.
And at that point, the video is a reward for doing the thing that you want to do for yourself, not, I can't stand this thing, so I'm going to use this thing that a lot of people use, and I know we've talked about Brene Brown before. If you guys haven't seen her, check her out. But she talks about how we use things like our daily distractions, our social media, our phones, our TV, all of that. They're numbing tools, much in the same way that substance abuse is used as a numbing tool. You can't deal with the stresses of your daily life, and so you just go home and numb. Don't want to feel it. And that's where we get into the problem, right? So, like I said, if you're using something that you're like, hey, this is a positive thing for me, this video is inspirational, or you know what, I really love this thing, and that's my trade-off is today, I know I need to ride, I want to feel better, I can't do it the way I want to, so I'm going to spend some time with myself, and I'm going to do something I want to do at the same time. But I bet you anything, you're not using that as, well, I'm going to just like go as hard as I can and kill myself on the bike, and I'm going to stare at the TV so that I don't feel how hard it is. Or I'm going to use it as an excuse to totally back off and barely move because I'm not paying attention.
No. Which is why, if you now this is me getting into cycling stuff, but people who do Zwift and Wahoo and Zwift and something else. It's basically like you're riding virtually with other people. So it's like video games, but you're riding your bike. And so you're like, you have these scenery. And y'all, if you are into Zwift and you are listening to this, someone help me, call and help me set it up. So I tried. I could never get the thing to set up. Like I do not have a smart trainer. I have a thing. You hook your bike into the wheel spins. That's it. That's all I got. There's no Bluetooth, no fanciness. So I couldn't get the thing to like sensor to hook up. So then it was just another frustration. Like I can see how it would be great, and you're like, oh hey, look, I'm riding next to Sven from Russia, you know, and so I'm gonna beat him, and you know, it's a literal guy, Sven from Russia or whoever, you know. Right. I get that. See, that's kind of fun. It kind of takes the annoyance of riding indoors and makes it still is something fun that you like to do and is your means to an end, even if it's not the way that you want to do it. You're still also going to get benefit, but it's not a punishment that you're giving yourself. I know too many people who former and current clients included that have a compensatory mindset. Like, I ate so much, now I have to go burn it off because I should. No. Right. So I had a client say that the other day. I was like, it's your birthday. Yeah. You ate the donut. You ate I don't care what she ate. Just move on. It doesn't matter in the scheme of things. What does matter is that you don't compensate. Yeah. No? Yeah. I know that's another tangent, but. Yeah. But it's part of this conversation, you know, because it's that same mindset and the same thing with like, oh, go on this diet plan that, again, not sustainable. I would tie that into fitness and media. I would absolutely tie that in. Like, oh, you want to be fit, you want to be strong. And that's the imagery they're showing you, even if they're not telling you that's what they're doing. You know what I mean? I saw an advertisement. We're in a hotel this weekend because I don't have cable because I won't pay for cable. We'll leave that alone. And I saw this advertisement for one of the big name diet companies that we will not throw under the bus here. And I've met some people who've had some success with them long term. It's unusual, but they have. But they're saying, oh, all you have to do is follow our eating plan and, you know, pay for our product and you can look like this. And they're showing somebody who's doing something physically active, which is not part of what they sell. But it's tied in. It's tied in. You want to look fit, then you better pay for our machine. You better pay for our diet plan that you can't sustain because it's not what you need. Or it's not sustainable, or both. Or you got to pay for our video, and the videos are the other things. Like some of the stuff I've seen in some of these videos that they're trying to sell to the public, I'm like, do you know the kind of flexibility, mobility, and general strength you need to do to perform some of these movements at a base level? The average buying is not going to be there. But you know what? I can't tell you the number of times a client, I got two, and I can, if I go pick up a something, the client immediately stops listening to me and just reaches for the something. Like, you don't even know what we're doing. She's like, right. Oh, like, quit focusing on the stuff. Let me explain to you what we're going to do, and let me coach you through it before you just reach for the thing. Right. So when you're seeing these videos, they know people are just going to mindlessly just do whatever it looks like, and they don't know if they're doing it right or not. But they're moving because they should. Right. And half the time, I hear, oh, yeah, I was doing this, and then this started hurting, so I can't do that anymore. And like, oh, well, I have a bad back. I have a bum shoulder. I have this, that. Maybe you do. Maybe. Not going to say no, I'm not a doctor. I don't know your situation. More likely, you were doing something you didn't know was either wrong or not good for you. Oh, I have another example. I'm full of examples. Let's talk about my dad. I love my dad. Okay. My dad hates exercise with a passion. He's 6'2" beanpole. He never ever liked it. He plays tennis, or did. Okay. That's his thing. Good. That's as active as he gets. He plays tennis. And he's darn good at it. That's pretty active. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I never won a game of tennis against my dad, ever. Not a game, not a single game, a point, not a game, not a match, not a set, not anything. He's good. Well, he was good. He's got really bad ankles. He also has really flat feet, and he's super duck-footed because he has zero core strength because he sits at the computer all day long, and he hates to do any kind of strength training. He's asked me in the past, I need ab exercises, I need this, you know, but it's because he does. I'm like, Dad, I'm not going to give them to you. You won't do them. He will do them for a while, but he doesn't like strength training, so he won't keep it up. It doesn't. Will he go to Nick Bollettieri's tennis camp? Yes, he will. Will he do ab exercises that I give him that are non-sexy, like Palloff presses that he needs? No. He won't. And you know, there was one day I came home, he's like, so, he almost clears his throat. He's like, so I'm doing this exercise program, like looking out the window, not making eye contact with me. I'm like, oh, what are you doing? He's like, yeah, you want to see it? It's got like burpees and stuff. Like my dad is in his 60s with bum ankles. And I mean real bad. Burpees probably the worst. He has no core strength, not great posture, all this, right? Okay. Burpees, and I couldn't believe he was actually doing burpees, but he was. He was doing them.
Yeah.
And planks and all these things. I'm like, you're doing that? You hate this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He did it for a while and he liked it, but then guess what? He got hurt.
Yeah.
So he doesn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
He's back to sitting at the computer.
Yep.
So now his thing is every morning he gets on the Airdyne bike.
Yeah.
20 minutes. No matter what, he does the Airdyne bike and he can do it. And it doesn't matter if his posture is crap. He can still do his 20 minutes. And does he hurt himself? No. Does he like it? I also don't know. But he can't play tennis.
It's 20 minutes, and I bet you anything he keeps doing it because he knows it's going to help his game, which is a positive reason to do it. It's a positive reason to do it,
Yes. He's not doing that as a negative.
Right. He's not doing it as I should do this, which is why the other things are failing. I should do this, but I don't like it. And
this is why cookie cutter programs, you have to be careful.
Yes.
Why they're not always good for you. And how many people do we know who over quarantine, I don't want to say quarantine. I was never quarantined. Thank you very much. But over the pandemic summer and spring, just got into YouTube videos and didn't know what they're doing and hurt themselves.
Yeah.
I had a lot of clients with that situation because we don't know what's appropriate and what's not, and you have nobody coaching you on form and paying attention, right?
Right.
But we should, because we can't sit around our sweatpants all day.
Right. And if you don't know modifications off the top of your head, look, I coach classes 3 days a week, sometimes 4. 3 days a week classes, 2 classes followed by open gym. Open gym is always somebody on their own program. Yeah. I have not made it through a single class/open gym, not one, where I didn't have to modify something for someone.
Always.
Not one. And they're still getting work done. Just because it's not the same movement doesn't mean we're not hitting the same things. Yeah. Like we say modification like it's a bad thing. It's like, no. No,
it means you can do it safely and properly and still get the benefit of that exercise.
Mm-hmm. And you're going to get stronger, and we're going to get you to the point where you're strong enough to do the thing you want to do.
Right.
Like, this is not a punishment at all. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, and this all super ties into our last stuff of you got to find ways to move in ways that feel good to you, for you to sustain them, because you're not going to sustain a should. And who wants to do something out of guilt and shame the rest of your life? That's not sustainable behavior.
Right. Yeah, you won't do it, and then you'll feel guiltier, and that's a negative feedback loop.
Yeah, and that's what the media is trying to tell us.
Right. And you got to think about it from that. They're going to get more money from you by shaming you.
Oh, yeah. Guilt and shame back and forth. Because then when it breaks or you didn't finish, well, you just need this other thing because you aren't good enough.
Yeah. It's your fault. Mm-hmm. So you should try this other thing because that last thing didn't work. And it's like everybody thinks they're saving money. I'm like, I don't know about that. Like, oh, I'm saving money because I'm not paying XYZ to go to a gym. I've seen a lot of people spend a lot more money than they think on these quick fix, fad workouts, machines, whatever it is. And they don't think about it because it's cheap. Yeah, but how many times are you paying for cheap?
Yeah.
How many times
you get what you pay for when it comes to cheap.
Yeah. Or it's a really expensive machine.
Yeah.
Like 2 ends of the spectrum.
Sometimes you don't get what you pay for the expensive stuff.
Yeah, I don't have time to go to the gym, or the gym membership where I actually get attention is really, really expensive. So I'm just going to spend the money on this machine that I'll totally use at home, and then you don't.
No, you don't. But why? Because you didn't enjoy it in the first place. If it's not coming out of a place where you are enjoying what you're doing, you're not going to sustain it, no matter how expensive and sexy the equipment is.
Right.
It's just not.
Well, and they make it look sexy in the advertisements. Yeah. Like, oh, look at this really attractive person doing these pull downs and these presses, and they're just bulging with muscles. And then you get your butt on that machine and you start doing that, and you're like, oh, this is ugly. Oh, this is ugly. I'm not showing anybody my round butt,
This is not sexy at all.
No, like,
I
oh my
know.
God, it's awful.
I mean, I get it.
Mhm.
I get it, but
Yeah.
yeah, you're absolutely right with the whole coming at this from shame of guilt of like you should do this, you
Mhm.
should do this, and then
Mhm.
just shaming you into okay, I'm going to challenge anybody who's listening to this. What is your should and why is it there?
Right.
Why do you think you quote should exercise? And don't you tell me it's to quote be healthy. There's
Right.
something underneath it. We had covered that in our previous episodes.
Yeah.
But what is your I should do this?
Yeah.
And what's the reason behind that? And the reason
Yep.
behind that, and just dig down into like, why do you really feel like you have to or you should? And why are you guilty that you're not? Like,
Right.
this may or may not be what's going on, but I have a client.
Mhm.
I quote trained him for an entire year last year, meaning he
Mhm.
paid me
Yeah.
and he never showed up all year.
Yep.
But I got his money. I felt really bad. And at the end of the year, I could have kept charging him. I like, this isn't,
Yeah.
I'm not helping you. Guess what? He signed
Right.
up again with me. He did like 2 workouts. It's been like 6 months. He still hasn't done anything. That was November.
Mhm.
What month is it? And
Mhm.
and I'm like, I reach out. I'm like, what do you need? Nothing.
Yeah.
If I can get him to answer at all. But it makes me wonder, like, is this he whenever he does come in the gym, which is rare, but I see him. We have a great time. He has great attitude. He
Yeah.
leaves. He feels all kinds of better. And he's
Right.
like, I want this, but then he doesn't do this.
Yeah.
And part of me is like, will you talk to me? Is this because this is coming out of a place where you feel like you should? Or do
Yeah.
you really enjoy this and you're embarrassed about something else?
Yeah.
Or is this literally, I've programmed you too much?
Yeah.
Actually, no, right now, that's not it. My goal was do one exercise every day, pick from these.
Yep.
And then I programmed him one exercise. He didn't log into the app, so he didn't do anything. But
Yeah.
I can't help him if he doesn't even answer,
Right.
But it's
Right.
like, is this coming from a place of
Right.
should?
Right. And with
Is
most people, that's what it's going to be.
yeah.
Occasionally, you'll get something different, but with most people, at least in our culture, that's what it's going to be. You know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And it's if you're sitting here thinking I don't have time, or I should do this, or I need to because of a shame-related factor, I'm overweight, or I look unhealthy, or whatever reason it is.
Yeah.
Before you try anything, I mean, really what Angela was saying, what you were saying just now about find a better reason than that. Like you owe it to yourself. You really, really do. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, you're saying you. And I'm like, and it just goes right through it. Well, I'm the exception. But I'm not good enough. And therefore I'm the exception.
Yeah.
I haven't met anybody who didn't need a good reason.
We all do.
You know?
Yep. You
And
got to find your why.
yeah, and it's got to be a good one. It's got to be a really good one. And you
Yeah.
got to come out of every workout feeling something good.
Right. It's like we referenced in the past. What is some kind of movement that you enjoy? What
Yeah.
are the emotions you get when you're doing that activity?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think you like this so much? What are
Right.
those feelings? Take those feelings and remember that. So when you feel like you should do that activity,
Yeah.
do it for you.
Yeah.
Screw the media.
Right.
The media isn't healthy. It's advertising. Not that there's anything bad with advertising, but this is why we think advertising is slimy, because it's deceptive. We feel like it's deceptive. And in these cases, it's just playing on your negative shame emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, if you've got a problem with your belly shape and that's your reason for doing a workout, you're going to probably try to do like 1,000,000 sit-ups, and it's not going to change anything because that's not what the problem probably is.
Right.
And then you're going to quit and you're going to blame yourself.
Yeah. Yep. That's it.
Find a better reason. I know we're like beating a dead horse here now. So
we're trying to keep it short today, guys. We're trying.
Yeah. I think we did pretty good.
Good.
I think the only thing left we could unpack is the sense of not enough time and how to deal with that. But I think we need to save that for.
Yeah. That's also in the book. We just didn't like delve into it that much.
Yeah.
And that has to go back to the whole, what is a non-negotiable for you? Like for me, the author was like, for her, it's sleep. And for her husband, he's got to exercise every day. It's a non-negotiable. Otherwise he won't have a good day. And I totally agree with the sleep thing. But to me, it's both of those. But
Right.
then you start setting yourself up. What's my pyramid? What's my hierarchy of non-negotiables until I get to negotiables?
Yes.
And when you say I don't have time, what does that really mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what your non-negotiable is? Are you not willing to make? I'm like, there's a whole bunch there that we could go with, but
can you even tell what your non-negotiable is, or are you so exhausted and numbed from everything that you do on a daily basis right now that you can't feel it?
Right.
There's that. And that also ties into honest reflection, which I know we covered in that book review. Where are you really being honest about what you're doing on a day-to-day basis? And why do you feel that way? Because I know I was a big like TV number, hardcore, and I felt like I never had time for anything. And it was because I required so much time with my numbing tools, plural, to shut down at the end of the night just so I could try to sleep.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell what was what at the end of the day. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's not coming from a place, just being a healthy exhaustion is one thing, but just being so stressed out, you can't function is not.
If you're exhausted in a healthy way, you're probably going to sleep fine that night. If you're exhausted in a way that is not healthy, you're probably not sleeping, and you're probably doing a lot of things that you would qualify as bad habits or negative behavior, like, oh, I ate too many carbs today. Oh, I ate too many fats today. Oh, I watched too much TV. Oh, I drank too much.
Yeah.
And that's the time when you're like sitting there at 2 a.m. and you still haven't fallen asleep, and you got to be up at 6, and you're like, okay, I promised myself that tomorrow I'm going to get up and I'm going to work out and I'm going to start eating nothing but salads. And
then we go into that unsustainable behavior.
Yeah. If you
Cut
even
yourself
started.
some slack.
If you even started.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'm not doing it, not down 4 hours of sleep. It's not happening.
Right.
So I think we're at a good stopping point before we start beating dead horses.
I think we are. All right. So let's do some flows and wrap it up.
Sure.
You want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So you can find me everything Music Strong on Instagram, Music Strong Fitness. Basically Music Strong everything. And you can find me if you are an instrumentalist, I am your person for downloadable instrument specific workouts, overcoming your muscle imbalances, getting stronger, whether that's in person or online. And I've got a whole bunch of stuff coming up, group coaching and online classes. Hit me up if you're interested.
Yeah. And again, I am Dr. Jen Kavis of Tuned and Toned Performance. That's tuned with a D and toned with a D. You can find me at tunedandtonedperformance.com, Instagram, Facebook, all the socials at Tuned and Toned Performance. YouTube, just type that in. I come right up. I am local to Tallahassee, but I also do online stuff. So if you're looking for one-on-one training, group classes, custom workouts, anything to do with like, hey, me and my friend have the same issue. Can we come work out at the same time and reduce our rate? Yes, you can. So yeah, that's me. Send us a message if you have any question, comments below. I think I reversed the S on those 2 words. We'll leave that alone. Yeah, send us your questions, send us your comments. We are always happy to talk to you guys about anything music and or fitness related. So
always.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us, and we will catch you next time.